गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्नाम् अन्याश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं. So after having told us what are the what is that which makes us become for no reason. Sometimes when we are on the spiritual path, we are sitting in meditation, doing our japa, enjoying the spiritual journey, but suddenly tamas takes over, body does not want to go to sit, body becomes lazy, the mind does not want to chant the name of the Lord, mind does not want to do the puja, the worship, the prayers, does not want to open the books, so that this does not happen to us. This sudden burst of tamas that comes out and expresses, because till we are an individual, we are a mixture of sattva, rajas, tamas. Just as sometimes we become hyperactive, sometimes we become hyper silent, similarly sometimes we can also become hyper tamasic. And when that comes, God save us, if we are not prepared for it. And the only way to prepare for it is sarvada sarva bhavena nischintaihi bhagavaneva bhajaniya. That means under all sets of conditions and at all times, at all places, remember with unconcerned about the anxieties, the profits and losses, the futures, the past. Drop everything and with no worry in your mind, with no anxiety or guilt in your mind, in a cheerful attitude, pray to the Lord, remember Him, worship Him in the quietude of your mind, in the silence of your mind, in the silence of your heart. That is the antidote. And whether it is tamas, whether it is rajas, whether it is sattva, don't forget the Lord in your heart. Here in the 9th chapter, the greatness of supreme love, that is being told to us. Sutra 80 says, Sakirtyamanaha Shighram eva Avirbhavati Anubhavayati cha bhaktan Sakirtyamanaha Shighram eva Avirbhavati Anubhavayati cha bhaktan. Actually, we should read it as Sakirtyamana Shighram Evavir Bhavati Anubhavayati cha bhaktan. When invoked, he indeed reveals himself and makes the devotee realize his absolute nature divine. A simple line, but it's the culmination of our devotion. That is, that a devotee has to put efforts. He has to take the name of the Lord. He has to invoke the Lord. But the entry into the sanctum sanctorium is not the will of the devotee. He has to vanish. The rememberer of the Lord, the invoker of the love, the lover has to vanish in order for the beloved to express. Consciousness is aware of itself. The result is not in our hands. All we can do is put efforts towards it. What is that effort? Sada sarva bhavena anishchintyahi bhagavan eva bhajaniya. This is all we can do. This is the crux of the entire text, that this is all you can do from wherever you are. And then when you reach that height of devotion, then at that time, when our ideal itself is love, when our ideal itself is Lord, initially what are you doing? You are invoking love. Where is your thought? Lord, why is the anger coming? I surrender to you. Jealousy is coming, I surrender. Lord, why? But when there is nothing more to offer into that fire of love, then what will happen? That is the time, as the mind is expanding and coming closer and closer to the altar of its heart, at that time all the qualities of the Lord, of the ideal, whatever your idea of God is, they start exhibiting through that mind. If he is of the nature of love, the love starts expressing through your heart and mind. If he is of the nature of knowledge, knowledge starts expressing through your heart and mind. If he is of the nature of all pervasiveness, that feeling that I am myself that all pervasive principle, it is through, without a thought, it will start. Initially it may come with a thought. But these all, you start suspecting, well, I may be that. Huh? And as long as the devotee, before merging into the Lord, naturally all the light is coming, the energy is coming, the love is coming, whatever his qualities are, they are expressing through your mind. As long as the mind is experiencing something, till then surrender has not happened. If you are experiencing a ray of light coming and you go into ecstasy, it is not realization. If it is the form of the Lord which is coming, it is not realization. It is a trick. Our Dhruva Maharaj, I told you the story, that young boy who was meditating, who did not stop eating fruit, stopped eating leaves, stopped eating, drinking water. In the end, still the Lord didn't come. He stood on his toe and meditated on the Lord. And then the Lord came. He says, Dhruva. He didn't answer. Hey Dhruva. He blew his conch. I am here. This is how Lord announces that he is coming. What is the conch? This is not just a story that is given in Bhagavad. It is Om. You will be incapable of hearing anything else but Om, inside and outside, everywhere. This is a stage that comes. And he is listening. He says, I have come, open your eyes. He says, I will not open the eyes. He says, why you will not? See, I am calling you, open. He says, no, I will not open. Many times before you have come like this, and I opened my eyes. And then when I opened my eyes, I saw the fruits, I saw the water, and I got distracted by it. And then again I had to start my sadhana, and again now with great difficulty, I don't want to open the eyes and get tempted by the world. You are tricking me. If you are everywhere, O Lord, see the prayer of the... If you are everywhere, O Lord, if you can come outside, why can't you come inside? In my heart? Lord says, then will you open eyes? Yeah, okay. I don't want to see only by the senses. I want to see you in my heart. And the Lord enters into his heart. And then Dhruva is satisfied. Then he opens his eyes. Because now the Lord cannot go anywhere. He doesn't have to search him outside. Why? He's already there in his heart. He has gone through that process of trial and error where the picture came, the Lord came, the sound came, this came, that came, and every time he opened, yeah, I have got there, it vanished. So here, these are all the penultimate stages where Sakirtyamanaha, when invoked, when you sing his kirti, when you call him Shighram eva avirbhavati, Shighram, very quickly, ere long, without wasting any time. How much time does the ocean need to enter the wave? How much time does a wave need to merge into the ocean? Huh? It already is, but it is not recognizing because its attention is on beginning and end, on birth and death. But if it puts its attention towards the ocean, how long will it take for it to realize, for the ocean to enter into its heart? Boom, isn't it? Not even a second. How much time will it take you for the Lord Avirbhavati, like a ghost possesses someone, that is called Avirbhavati. So for the Lord to possess your heart, not even a moment, because he is already there. All that is required is the shift of attention. That's all. Shift your attention from the individual to the divine. Maintain that attitude. That's all that is required. That is Avirbhavati. How much time does it take for the sleep to envelop you? Avirbhavati. Till you are thinking, it is not, but it takes not even a second. The moment it happens, you don't even realize that it has happened, isn't it? That much time it takes. Yesterday I was giving one example. How much time does it take for you to be a son in front of your mother and to be a husband in front of your wife? And both are standing in front of you. You look this way, Mom, darling. How much time to shift? Ere long. In Sanskrit, achirat. Immediate. And this truth, it is not that you are uncovering it, it gets revealed. The door opens from the inside. All you can do is come to this door of the Sanctum Sanctorium. And the only way to come to this door is by thinking about the Lord. Just like Nachiketa, when his father told him, go to the abode of death, I give him to you. If my father has told me that I should go to death, there must be a way, otherwise would he have told me in today's times? Go, I give you to death. Wait, I'll send you to death first. Forget about me going, I'll send you to death first. But the caliber of the intellect in those times was different. Even now you get such type of people because still saints and sages are coming up everywhere, isn't it? So he says, it must be. And he thinks not how to get there. He thinks only of the Lord. of the Lord of the Death. The path gets revealed. You don't plan at the time that to get in meditation. We do this way. To get into meditation, you think of meditation and it will happen. But because we are not thinking of meditation, we are not thinking of silence, we are not thinking of the Lord, therefore our attention is, Acha, is the cushion there? Is the temperature right? Put the light off, put the light on, put the fan on, put the heater on. All other paraphernalia is required. And then when everything is right, we'll go into meditation. And Mahatmas, the moment that feeling is there, I'm with Anubhavananji, many times we go for holidays, 2-3 days somewhere, and we live together. So, Swami, we are sitting in the afternoon, and suddenly, he's sleeping, and I'm sleeping there. Suddenly he'll get up and he'll sit in meditation. So one day, somewhere we were sharing the same bed, and at 2 o'clock in the morning he got up and sat in meditation. So next day I just asked, Swami ji, आपका कोई टाइम नहीं है क्या मेडिटेशन करने का? कहता है मेडिटेशन टाइम देख के थोड़ा ना आता है, जब आ जाता है तब मैं बैठ जाता हूँ. मैं कहा और मेरे को बैठने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. Meaning, I'll tell you. He says meditation does not come, the silence doesn't pervade you by first telling you that it is coming. It doesn't need a proper time that only in the morning at 6 o'clock I will come, only at the Sandhya time I will come. It doesn't. He says any time it can come. And when it comes, I am available. And I don't need to sit to be in silence. I am always, but because I am in that silence all the time, if that silence demands at that time of the day that I must sit in meditation, therefore the body is sitting. I don't need to sit because something has to be done. उस दिन कुछ क्लिक हुआ. This is called सहज भाव. So as long as when we come to this stage, as long as we are saying, I have come to know God, I have experienced God, I am seeing God, all this, or I saw God afterwards, forget it. It's all imagination of your mind. Because no experience is equal to the realization. In experience, always experiencer is there and experienced is there. In realization, there is only one and one alone, and that is the God principle. And in this way, when we transcend the equipments of the body, breath, mind, intellect, then now once we had transcended, now we were sitting in meditation for some time, isn't it? In the last class. How another half an hour went, we don't know. So that time, were you aware that you are in a class? Were you aware that we just finished the class? Were you aware that next class is going to start? If you have all these thoughts, you can't sit in meditation. You are not even aware that you are sitting. Because you are not available, mind is not available to the body. Mind is not available to the breath. Mind is intoxicated in the remembrance of the Lord. So transcending. So as you are transcending, the body has collapsed, the breath has collapsed, the mind is collapsing. And when the mind has completely collapsed, swallowed, merged, surrendered, all same thing, then the divinity expresses. But now, if the instruments are not there, they have already been surrendered, out of what will he express? Is there an intellect to say, because intellect has surrendered, therefore that experience has taken place. So when that experience, Acha bhai, from where do I? It is the all infinite, all consuming, all pervading principle. But intellect is not there, mind is not there, a body is not there for it to express at that moment of realization. So there is no one to know there. If intellect is not there, how can you know it? So if we are sitting on the seat of meditation and saying, I came to know, I saw this, I saw that, understand, it is not a result of an effort. It is where all effort ends. And then this Lord expresses. It is like, the example comes in the Upanishad, Shankaracharya's commentary or in some Upanishad, that you have a key and you are looking for of the room and you are looking for it everywhere. Have you seen the key? 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 And getting disturbed. Arre baapre, I paid $10 deposit. Where is the key gone? Where is the key gone? Where is the key gone? And after you are exhausted, and the finger touches. It was always in your pocket. Sometimes those people who are walking with the glasses like that, they look around everywhere, they find the glasses only on their head. Everyone is smiling at them and going away, but not telling them, hey, it is on your head. Isn't it? Same way. As long as our attention is extrovert, our attention is seeking the divine through some medium, till then it is far away. Even one thought is enough to keep you separate from yourself, to keep you separate from the divine. Because the only thing that there is consciousness. But the moment thought comes, immediately beginning and end. And it charts out a separate identity for itself. Whether it be sattvic, no problem, but it is still an identity. That has to vanish. And in this way, no ego can ever be conscious of consciousness. Consciousness is conscious of itself. Only God knows himself as he is. You as an individual cannot go there. I had the vision of the Lord. I had the experience of the Lord. Can't. It is not an experience. It is a state of being. It is not a state of experience. It's a state of being. And therefore the word used here is Anubhavayati cha bhaktan. Anubhavayati. This is the devotees, the bhaktan, the devotee, the lover. This is the experience of the beloved. That is, he and me are one, and this experience is without a thought. See, it is only he who makes us experience him. It is only he who opens the doors of the temple from inside. And where is that temple? It is in your heart. If you have seen Meera's movie, she is running to the temple. The king, her father-in-law, he says, you have gone and sung in the court of Akbar, blasphemy. You don't deserve to live. She says, I pardon you. And all the chains drop. Still the king's eyes have not opened that she is extraordinary. He says, soldiers, go and catch her. And she sings, Mere to Giridhara Gopal, Dusara na koi. And she walks to the temple, the statue of Krishna in which she is in love with. And she says, he is my husband, my mother told me so. And from that time, now all that childish thing is gone. Now she is really experiencing that. And she goes, the temple is closed, she reaches the temple, boom, 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 all doors open. Who opened? Krishna opened. She goes in. 2 minutes later, the soldiers come looking for her. She is not there. Only the statue is there, and her the Iktara kya Tanpura? Tanpura. That is lying there on the side. Where has she vanished? There is only one door to enter. No windows. Merged. This is just a depiction, but that's exactly what will happen inside. This is exactly what happens in the sleep. This is exactly what happens when you get identified with someone or something. This is exactly what will happen when the Lord reveals. But even at such a huge scale it will happen that it is inexplicable. And in this way, the Anubhavayati, the devotee experiences him. Not devotee. The Lord makes the devotee experience him. I should say that. Because we are so used to speaking in that way. It is the Lord who makes the devotee experience him. It is the Lord who makes the lover come and merge into him. It is not the lover is surrender. It is the Lord which is making him surrender to himself. And in this way, Naradji now, again, as a, Falashruti, he is telling the glory of this path, how it is the great, how it is unique, how it is it is the greatest path compared to other paths. In the 81st Sutra, Trisatyasya Bhaktir Eva Gariyasi Bhaktir Eva Gariyasi Trisatyasya Bhaktir Eva Gariyasi Bhaktir Eva Gariyasi. Broke it at the wrong place. Once more. Trisatyasya bhaktireva gariyasi. Bhaktireva gariyasi. Gariyasi, it is the greatest. What is greatest? Bhakti alone is greatest. Bhakti alone is greatest. Is Narad Muniji is saying. He says, of the three time or paths, devotion alone is the greatest. Indeed, devotion alone is the greatest. And in this way, here, what are these three? Say, once I saw one book somewhere in the ashram. Now I've been looking for that textbook. In that, what is one? God is one. Consciousness is one. Spirit is one. Huh? Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati is one. Then what is two? Atma and Paramatma. Okay, Atma and Paramatma. But two, Atma and Paramatma are one only, they are not two. Ishwar and Prakriti are two. Consciousness and matter are two. Shiva Shakti is two. Like this. Then what is three? Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is three. What else is three? Creation, maintenance and destruction is three. What else is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is three. What else is three? वो हो गया ना Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. What else is three? The triads, the knower, known, knowing, the experiencer, experienced and experiencing, and so on. Here, seer, seen and seeing, hearer, heard and hearing. The Triputi. That is three. What else is three? The Father, Son and the Holy Ghost. There you go. Yeah, three. What else? Satchit Ananda. It is three. Originally, the Vedas were not four. They were three. Three Ved. And they were the Rug Ved, Yajur Ved and Samaved. Atharvana Ved was added later on. Past, present and future is three, isn't it? Then what is four? Okay, Vedas are 4.
Brahma's heads.
Huh? Brahma's heads are 4. What are those Brahma's heads called?
The 4 directions.
Directions are 8. So, clarity. What are the 4 heads of Brahmaji?
Seasons.
Huh? Seasons? No. What are 4? Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. These are the 4 heads of Brahma. What are 5?
Indriya.
Huh? Pancha Pran, Panchendriya, Pancha Karmendriya. Yeah? So, 5 great elements, 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, 5 breaths. And this way that text which I saw, it was telling, we have just covered a few, it told few more. Very, very fascinating. And the moment you say 1, tuck, 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 you come out. You say 3, just now what we are doing. Maybe Google and find if you can find something like that. So this way, here when it says Trisatyasya, of the 3 truths. What are the 3 truths? Of the 3, the relative truths. Past, present and future. The past, present, future is the truth which we are living in right now. The 3 Vedas are the truth that which we are living right now. The 3 paths, the Karma Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga and the Jnana Yoga. These are the main yogas. All other yogas are part of these. So, these 3 are the truths. So, in this way, from these relative truths, devotion alone is the greatest. So, either you take the time in past, present and future. If you take the whole span of time, devotion alone is the greatest. If you take the 3 paths, devotion alone is the greatest, whichever way you look at it. And in this way, devotion alone is the easier and the noblest, because no preparation is required, no prerequisites required, no qualification required, because devotion is equal to love and everyone has love in their heart. All you have to do is direct that love towards the Lord. And therefore, that devotion is alone the greatest. It alone is the greatest. 2 times he says. And why is he saying that devotion is greatest 2 times? Because first time we may not have heard it. So second time, hey, when we say to the small children, beta, you are good. You are good. Suddenly he wakes up. Acha, I am good. So he is insisting that bhakti is the greatest. Not because he is a devotee, therefore, because it is his own direct experience. Because bhakti is greatest, because devotion is greatest. Devotion is the greatest, and I have read it just now. Trisatyasya bhaktireva gariyasi. Bhakti is the greatest. Bhakti is the greatest. Do you know bhakti is the greatest? Do you know bhakti is the greatest? Just knowing that devotion is greatest is not a qualification. You have to practice it. So when he says the second time, Bhakti Reva Gariyasi means first know that it is greatest. Because you know it is greatest, now apply it in your life. Remember one example came before, knowing the dinner is not enough. You have to put efforts to prepare the dinner. Knowing the palace is not enough to have the friendship of the king. You have to keep putting efforts till the grace of the king is bestowed upon you. Similarly, knowing devotion is not enough. You need to cultivate it in your heart till a point where the Lord's grace descends upon your heart. And therefore, bhakti reva gariyasi, bhakti reva gariyasi. Narada, knowing fully well that, because before I go ahead, see, this is a text, this is a thesis, it has been presented to us as a text. So there are many people who will say, it's a good idea, it's a concept. In the end, it's a concept. Anything that is presented to us today, they say Panadol. Panadol, it's someone's idea, someone's concept which has been manufactured and presented. But then tomorrow they say Panadol is bad. Why? What is the proof? So they do the blind studies, this study, that study, to prove that it is the best, isn't it? Similarly, when they say Bhakti Reva Gariyasi, these believers, those who are the what do you call it, seekers, they don't want to just believe blindly some path that is being presented to them. They don't want to just blindly believe the instructions that Naradji is giving to them. So he is telling them, Bhakti is the greatest. In the second he is saying, Bhakti will be greatest if you practice it. So practice it. Inculcate it in your heart. And therefore, now in the next sutra, some of the different modes of expressing devotion are told. And here, you must have seen it before, heard it before in Bhagavatam and in other texts. It comes as Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, all different ways you can invoke the Lord, right? Here it is 11 different ways are given how you can get attached to the Lord. It is not with what materials you can go there. What bhava, what feeling can you create attachment for this world-oriented mind to go towards God. So what relationship you can have with the Lord. So in the 82nd sutra, Guna Mahatmya Asakti, Rupa Sakti, Puja Sakti, Smarana Sakti, Dasya Sakti, Sakhya Sakti, Vatsalya Sakti, Kanta Sakti, Atma Nivedana Sakti, Tanmayata Sakti, Paramaviraha Asakti, Rupa Ekadhyapyeka Dashadha Bhavati, Guna Mahatmya Asakti, Rupa Sakti, Puja Sakti, Smarana Sakti, Dasya Sakti, Sakhya Sakti, Vatsalya Sakti, Kanta Sakti, Atma Nivedana Sakti, Tanmayata Sakti, Paramaviraha Asakti, Rupa Ekadha api ekadashadha bhavati, Ekadha api ekadashadha bhavati. Love for glorifying His qualities. So first one is love for glorifying His qualities, love for His divine form, love for worshipping Him, love for remembering Him, love for doing service for Him, love for friendship in Him, love for the Lord as one's own child, love as that to a beloved, love for a total self-offering at His feet, love for complete absorption in Him, love as expressed in the pangs of separation from Him. Thus, though love is one only, it is expressed in 11 different ways. So choose. There is a buffet in front of you. And it is not necessary that it is only one you stay with. You can have all the 12. The highway to the Lord is there. And where is it? It starts from your heart. And it has got 11 lanes. These are the 11 lanes. Choose any one, it will take you there. Or, if your vehicle is so big, occupy all the 11 lanes. That is fullness. And eventually, all the lanes will keep merging into each other as it reaches the goal. It is not that each lane is reaching a different goal. No, they are all reaching the same Lord. So this way, Guna Mahatmya Sakti, this is where Naradji, Vyas Maharaj, Maharishi Ved Vyas, who compiled all the Puranas and the Vedas, and the Sukdevji Maharaj who spoke on Bhagavatam, all these, they had the fire, the Guna Mahatmya, they had the greatness for the attributes of the Lord, and with that, with the love for the attributes of the Lord, they fell in love with Him. The second is Rupa Sakti, attachment and love towards His divine form. And here we see the rishis and the people of Mithila. When Ramchandraji was roaming around in the Mithila, just before he got married to Sita, he and Lakshmana, people were looking at him and they said, oh, every woman was saying, every unmarried girl was saying, I wish he was my husband, I wish he was my husband. They were so attracted, men, women alike. When Krishna was passing through, when he came to the Mathura, same thing. Everyone, the whole bazaar was behind him. He is walking and all the people, who is this handsome boy? Who is this beautiful boy? He looks like a godly person. And they started walking behind him. So Rupa Sakti, they get attached to the form of the Lord. Path of serving, and this is the Puja Sakti. And in this we see how King Bharat, not King Bharat, the brother of Ram, what did he do? When Ramchandraji refused to come to the Ayodhya, and he said, I will go and spend the 14 years in the forest as in exile. He said, no, father told me to go, you go back to the kingdom. So he says, please give me your padukas. And when he goes back to Ayodhya, he puts the padukas on the throne and he does worship of them for the 14 years that are there left. Continuously worshipping the Lord. And that is another way of being attached to the form of the Lord. Another is the Smarana Sakti. Smarana Sakti is continuous remembrance of the Lord. Dhruva Maharaj, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, continuous, nothing else. Does not have knowledge, does not know who Vasudev is, who the Lord is, Om Namo Bhagavate, but deep love for Him, deep pining for Him, that Lord will come, I will find Him, I will ask Him. Say also Prahlad, he got the name of the Lord while he was in the womb of his mother. Who was it? In someone's house I went. Some children are born after listening to my Bhagavad. So parents have been listening, and the mother is pregnant, they come to the Bhagavad, and now those children are growing. And it's a different thing. When one or two of them I have seen, there are two of them there, they're different. Now one of the boys is almost how many? One is 13-year-old. 13-year-old. I met his mother when she was carrying him, long time ago. And they called me for Bhiksha. And I went to their house and we had a satsang. And this fellow has some attraction, I don't know what. Throughout Bhagavad, imagine 12, 13-year-old sitting there, keeps looking at my face. I don't know what he looks. Some of them recognize also. Some of them at home, Chamiji, 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 Chamiji. So what does Swamiji do? So when they are young, their mothers tell me, what does Swamiji do? They quickly go, put one cushion on the floor, Om. That's what I do for them. Smarana Sakti. Smarana Sakti, remembrance, continuous remembrance of the Lord. So in this category come Mirabai. In this category, no, Mirabai took him as her husband. That will be afterwards. It is Prahlad, Dhruva Maharaj, and they continuously through remembrance they realize the Supreme Lord. Then the next one is Dasya Asakti. What is Dasya? Dasya is the feeling that I am your servant, O Lord. And with that Seva Bhav, with that feeling of serving the Lord, they attain the realization of the Lord. And in this examples are Hanumanji, the example is Vidura Maharaj. And then the next one is Sakhya Sakti. Sakhya Sakti is attachment to being the friend of the Lord. Arjuna, Sudama, isn't it? These are the examples. Arjuna, and eventually Arjuna got the knowledge from the Lord. Sudama,
Sugriva also.
Sugriv also, yes, Sugriv also. So in this way, they attained the God realization through their friendship to the Lord. Then the next one is, seventh one, Kanta Sakti. This is the attitude of relationship between the Vatsalya is there? Vatsalya. Vatsalya Sakti. Vatsalya is the love for the Lord as your own child. Yashoda, Devaki, Aditi, when she had Vamana Bhagwan. And in this way, they prayed to the Lord. Aditi prayed to the Lord. And she said, I want you to come as my own child. And he appeared. Even though Krishna was not Yashoda's child, but the fulfillment that she had, having him to be his mother, is unparalleled. In that it doesn't come, how can I serve my son? How can I? No, she head over heels, Krishna, 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 every moment. The next one is what? Kanta Sakti. Kanta Sakti is the relationship that a person has, the devotee has with the Lord. And it is the relationship of a husband and wife. And how a wife feels towards her husband, this way the devotee feels towards the Lord. It is said in the biography of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he started following the Radha Marg, and he thought himself to be Radha and Krishna to be his beloved. And he started, the whole body of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa started changing. He started developing breasts, his whole body started becoming feminine. And then the devotees, what is happening to? They stopped him from going in that direction. And then the next one is Atma Nivedana Asakti. Atma Nivedana is that total offering of ourself at the feet of the Lord. Here the best example is the Hanumanji, who says that as he combines all of them together, not all of them, but three of them, he says, as body I am your servant, as the soul I am a part of you, and as Atma I am not other than you. This realization cannot come without having had the realization of the Lord in his heart. and yet he continues to serve. And that was the Atma Nivedana Sakti. Then comes the Tanmayata Sakti. Tanmayata Sakti is absorption into the divine supreme being, and in this the devotee is continuously trying to feel that he is not other than the Lord. He is wanting to surrender more and more and more and more. And in this, this type of bhakti was practiced by Sanat Kumaras, by Yajnavalkya and other great yogis who had unbroken devotion with Tanmayata. Tanmayata, continuous devotion towards the feet of the Lord, or to the idea of God, to the principle of God, divinity. And as a result, the meditator and the meditated, when it matures, the meditator and the meditated both become one, and there is nothing left to separate them from each other. Then the next one is Parama Viraha Asakti. Parama Viraha Asakti, a deep anguish, a deep pining, a deep sense of separation. I understand that I am not other than you, just like a wave is not other than water, the ornament is not other than gold, that the pot is not other than mud. Then why am I feeling that I am separate to you? And this keeps paining that devotee. What is that? What wrong have I done? Why my senses and my mind still keep going towards the world when the only truth is you alone, O Lord? Why you are allowing my mind to go? And this pining again, O Lord, and we see these abhangas of Tukaram, of Jnandev, of Gora Kumbar, of Muktabai, of Sopandev. All these, if you go to of Surdas, Kabir Das, you see the pining in those verses, the Sufi saints, isn't it? The Rumi's words, how he puts it, just unparalleled. When you read them, you are there. It cannot be anything any other way. So those are the Parama Viraha. It is not Viraha of I am missing my child, why has he not come, I am missing my car, who has stolen it, let's go to the police and report. No. That is also Viraha. Where has my childhood gone? That is also Viraha. Now I did so much for my children and now they don't even ask for me. That is also Viraha. That is a feeling of pangs of separation. The attachment is there, but that fellow is not caring. That is the idea there. Viraha means you are attached, you want, you desire. But the Lord is not coming. So when this love is when it is towards the world, it will take you into depression. When this pangs of separation are taking you are directed towards the Lord, salvation. No depression. And in this way, this Paramavira also was experienced by the gopis, where waking, dreaming, sleeping, they could not think about anyone else but the Lord and Lord alone. And in this way, these 11 ways, because how you create a relationship with the Lord, how I create a relationship, how every one of the persons living in this world, past, present or future, creates a relationship with the Lord is absolutely unique. But here are 11 ways, attitudes which one can practice to create this relationship and realize Him. And in this way, now the last part, which is the 83rd verse, it's who are the various acharyas of devotion, and that one who practices this path, for him attainment is for sure. We'll see it in our next class. It will be a short class, only half an hour or so. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari